Hi students, this is your teacher Eric. Welcome to the first episode of our research class. In this lesson, we will be focusing on the definition and purpose of research. At the end of this video lesson, you are expected to number 1, define research. Number 2, be acquainted with the purposes of research. Number 3, identify the characteristics of a good research and a researcher. Number 4, determine common problems in conducting research. And number 5, discuss solutions to problems in conducting research and be familiar with the nature and fundamentals of research paper writing. Are you now excited to learn more about research writing? I know you are! Let's begin! A research paper is a long composition that discusses a specific problem. It is usually conducted with a minimum time frame of 1 year. Further, research is encouraged because a research paper is a scholarly output that requires extensive reading. Also, research writing is challenging and demanding. This is because you need to follow set of procedures and rules. According to Hare 1990 and Daraceros 2000, research writing is a kind of writing that is predictable and orderly, in which you have to control both style and content. Research is done to improve a system or a method of doing something. This is an assurance that all types of research are undertaken to serve people, particularly to improve or enhance their lives. Now, let's take a look on the objectives of the research. We have the following. Number 1, it is for us to be aware of how to use new facts or new truths about known phenomenon for primal existence. Number 2, it is for us to find solutions to problems in the simplest way possible in the different fields of study. Number 3, it is for us to provide the legal basis for correct action and decision-making to perpetuate the essence of good life. Number 4, it is for us to identify whether the solution to the specific problem is assumed to be true or false. And lastly, we have number 5, it is for us to satisfy humans' basic and social needs to improve their quality of life. This time, let's discuss the characteristics of a good research. Number 1, a good research follows an order or sequence that logically presents all the ideas. This is very important as it gives direction to your output. Number 2, a good research is logical. Its findings and conclusions are based on an empirical effort to avoid bias. It is supported by facts and pieces of evidence to ensure validity and reliability. Number 3, a good research interprets data fairly and objectively. That means to say that there are no external or internal influences. Number 4, a good research is original. It is a product of observation, data gathering, analysis, and factual interpretation. And number 5, a good research is useful to other research studies. It adds to the existing body of knowledge. If there are good researches, then that is because there are also good researchers. Now the question is, what makes a good researcher? First, a good researcher seeks new knowledge. He or she is confident and optimistic about his or her ability to conduct research. Second, a good researcher is open to new ideas. He or she is willing to acknowledge differing viewpoints even if they contradict his or her own study. Third, a good researcher works very hard. He or she invests time and efforts to obtain reliable and useful results. Fourth, A good researcher knows how to seek answers to problems. He or she looks for materials and resources needed for his or her task. And fifth, a good researcher is scientific. That means to say, he or she is honest, objective, fair, and systematic. Challenges are inevitable in conducting research. And at this point, I'm going to give you the common problems that you will experience in conducting research. 1. A researcher may sometimes have difficulty conceptualizing his or her research problem. The best way, then, is to have a creative and open mind. It is practical and useful for a researcher to keep a small notebook where he or she can write down his or her observations about his or her surroundings. Number 2. A researcher may encounter scarcity of references. There are also times when references are outdated. This is one of the common problems in conducting research. It is suggested then to conduct interviews, perform experiments, and explore resources from the internet. It is also good to use different devices in gathering data. 3. A researcher may face financial problem, which is very common. One should be resourceful enough to use recycled paper, which can help reduce the cost of research. 4. A researcher sometimes finds himself or herself with limited time for research and notes. The best way to deal with that time constraints is through wise time management. So, it is suggested that you have your own schedule or you have your own timetable. Number 5. A researcher may also encounter problems with group members. In a group research, an equal division of labor is important. Number 6. Uncooperative respondents also pose a problem to the researcher. The researcher must be patient in dealing with them. It is important to establish rapport with people who will participate in the research. And number 7. A researcher may also be obstructed by personal problems. It takes maturity to handle these difficulties, which should not affect the conduct of the research. To conclude this video lesson, let us keep in mind that a research paper is a long composition that discusses a specific problem. A good research is procedural, logical, objective, original, and useful. Also, a good researcher hungers for knowledge and is open-minded, resourceful, and hard-working. And a researcher may encounter a number of problems, but for every problem, let us remember that there is a corresponding solution. That's it for today. I hope that you learned something from me. Please check the link on the description box below for our activity. See you on our next episode.